Welcome to the President's Desk, heard on 96.9 KGPC and Peralta Television, where Laney College President Dr. Rudy Besikoff speaks with community members, colleagues, and student leaders. This podcast is supported by Technical Director Felicia Bridges, who co-hosts along with Laney College Journalism major Randy Cross and Laney College President Dr. Rudy Besikoff.
Pull up a chair and join me and Felicia at the President's Desk today as we discuss Laney College's collaboration with the Lao Family Community Development Organization. And we welcome CEO and longtime East Bay community leader Kathy Chao Rothberg to the program, as well as Laney College's very own Employment Services Project Manager, Raya Zion. The show airs at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. on 96.9 FM KGPC right here in Oakland each Wednesday and can be seen on Sundays from 1 to 2 p.m. on Peralta TV starting this fall. Can't catch us at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m.? No problem. All our episodes are available anytime on demand at kgpc969.org, along with other great KGPC programs such as the Merit Hour. As always, we can be heard as well on Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. Randy, how can our listeners engage our podcast?
Well, President's Desk fans, you can email us at laneypodcast@peralta.edu. Like us on Facebook at Laney College President's Desk Podcast. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Laney Podcast. You can also find select interviews and content from the show on YouTube by subscribing to Laney College President's Desk channel.
Thank you, Randy. This is Rudy Besikoff, president of Laney College, a pillar that has been serving the greater Oakland community since 1927 and has been known as Laney now for more than 65 years. Like so many things with the president's office, my work is the result of a great team. In addition to my co-hosts, Felicia and Randy, Arlene Lontock books guests for us, and Raya Zion serves as a show contributor and as she's done over the last 3 weeks, the occasional in-studio guest. And Raya, we're always glad to have you.
My pleasure.
Getting things kicked off today, as always, though, is my co-host and FM radio aficionado, Felicia Bridges. Felicia, how are you?
FM radio aficionado. I love the title. I'm doing well. How are you, Rudy?
Not too bad. Not too bad. You know, just thinking about our show today, and our guest is actually a former mayor. I was going to ask you, if you could be mayor for one day, what would you do? And you had the proverbial magic wand.
I don't know. I'm thinking that I would bring, the festival at the lake back. It was such a fun activity. I would bring that back.
Randy, how about you?
I would probably have just a big celebration day because I'm the mayor, so we'll celebrate me.
Okay, so I'm hearing the party as the common thread here. Well, just want to welcome in our guest today, Kathy Chao Rothberg. And Kathy, I'll start right off the bat. You are a former mayor, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But when you were campaigning for mayor and had visions of being mayor, if someone asked you that question, what would you do if you had the proverbial magic wand in one day? What would your answer have been at the time?
Well, one of the most amazing thing about being a mayor is going out to the community and meeting our community members, our residents, our children in our schools, our police department, our fire department, our business owners, and getting to know them and why they moved to our city and opened their businesses. That was one of the most enjoyable parts of being a mayor, is to serve our community and solving problems for our owners of our businesses and our homes and our community members.
Sounds like you were saying you'd tackle things head on. That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, right off the bat, Kathy, within this space, please call me Rudy. May I call you Kathy?
Absolutely. Go
okay.
ahead.
First of all, just as the president of Laney College, I would like to say thank you to you and to everyone at Lao Family for the incredible support and partnership with Laney College. Since my first day as a president, when we were on full-on pandemic, one of the things and the supports we had actually was from Lao Family. So on behalf of my college, I just would like to thank you.
Thank you for saying that. And we're very pleased to work with Laney College. I reflect back, too, that, I came here as a student when I was in high school.
All right, Soar Eagles, yeah.
Yes, and then when I started my career in affordable housing at East Bay Asian Local Development Corporation, I knew that in order to be a good project manager and to work with the construction companies, I would need to learn how to read blueprints, and I would need to have a better understanding of a construction. So I took an amazing construction class here at Laney College.
Excellent. So could you talk a little bit, maybe we'll start right off the bat, talk a little bit about the partnership that Lau Family has with Laney. What are some of the things, just the aspects of the partnership that our listeners should know about?
It's been a really mutually, I think, beneficial partnership for the last 20 years. Lau Family started working with Laney College nearly 30 years ago. Before I came and became the CEO of the company, it really started with my father, the late Chasan S. Chao, was the founder of the organization. And we had a partnership in the early childhood education program with Merritt College, where we operated for I think 8 years, a early childhood education program with the state of California Department of Education and Even Start Family Literacy. And we sent multiples of our dozens of employees through Merritt College's early childhood education program. Then over the years, we also have a great summer program and year-round youth summer program and year-round program with the partnership with the city of Oakland, the mayor's summer jobs program. And
it's fantastic, yeah.
And the WIOA program. We've expanded now to also include partnerships with Oakland Housing Authority and their youth. Lau Family is the operator of, their program to give, summer job opportunities to the youth that live in public housing properties.
That's amazing. And I actually would like to bring Raya into the conversation at this point. So Raya, from your perspective as the project manager in the Employment Services Office, could you speak to Lau's partnership with Laney?
Yes, absolutely. I've been with Laney since 2014, and I was introduced to Lau, which is now, don't tell anyone, is my favorite. But I was introduced to Lau because we were under a grant to work with refugees and immigrants through the Refugee Coalition. And from there, just because, they've invited me to speak in their youth programs and also we table all the time. From that grant, we evolved and, we conceived a program which is a bridge to CTE. So now the grant that was originally refugee career counseling portion for us is now a 6-week boot camp for new immigrants that go through Lau with ESOL Laney teachers. And they learn
English for speakers of other languages. That's or ESL. Right. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's early English language learners. The courses are at Lau, and they go through, the different CTE programs. We bring in speakers from industry and other vocational ESOL studies. And we've had about this grant was written about 2 years ago. We've had about 4 or 5 graduating cohorts.
Well, that's fantastic. So, Kathy, Raya mentioned, the services being available at Lau. Where is the office located here in Oakland?
We're just down the street, about half mile, if that, on East 12th Street with Laney College and the Peralta College district office on East 12th Street. We've always recognized that Laney is such an important institution. The Peralta College District is a very important institution, not only for lifelong learning and for families that want to continue with their education and get vocational training programs and AA degrees and AS, but they can also have a really great pathway to the Cal State universities and the UC systems. Oh,
that's so important. And obviously transfer is a big part of our mission here at Laney. So that's great to hear. Yes, go ahead.
I was curious, when you were at Laney, what was your major?
Well, I was only taking classes when I was in high school. My parents, I had Tiger parents, and myself, I was always interested in expanding my abilities. So I would take math classes here. I would take real estate classes, things that maybe most high school kids wouldn't be thinking about. But then when I had graduated from college already, and I was interested in project management and in construction. And these are all the very interesting electives and lifelong learning skills that you can expand your skills and your knowledge in accessing at the community college.
What college did you graduate from?
So I spent the first 2 years at UC Santa Cruz, and then I graduated after I transferred to UC Berkeley. So I graduated from UC Berkeley.
Okay. Well, I'm a former Bruin. That's where I got my doctorate from UCLA. So good to have some UC folks in the house, which is great. Kathy, just to let you know about our show a little bit, our audience is often kind of the premise is it's students in Peralta and whoever on the community college front is listening in. So in a past episode, we actually had our web designer come on and talk about her job and a graphic designer come on and talk about his, and we've had that happen. I'd like to focus on your role as the CEO of Lao Family. Could you tell us about your role and kind of walk us through a day in the life of a CEO?
Well, it's funny because people think that CEOs, they see us dressed up, going to get speeches or solving a problem. But really, my job as CEO is really to be there to support my staff. I have to make sure that my staff have the resources that they need to do their job. If there is an issue with a community member who's a client, that I'm there to solve the issue. If there's a potential partnership or a project with an important institution like a community college or the city or the county or the state or the federal government or a church in the community, that we collaborate together. I wake up in the morning and every day, the first thing I do is I actually thank God for another day that I'm alive. I thank God for the opportunity to wake up and to be there for my family and my staff. And every day, honestly, I wish this upon everybody, that I hope that all students and all citizens and our community members can find something where we have a purpose, that we can have a purpose-driven life, and that every day we have something and somewhere to go where we're doing something that is changing the lives of people, and that we're supporting our staff, that they too have a mission to serve. And we're making differences in the community through all the various partnerships, because I recognize, just like you as a leader, that we can't do everything. There are some things that we can't do and we shouldn't do. Other people are better than us. And let's support our staff, because you and I both, we have one head each, 2 hands and 2 feet. But if we put our heart and our mind and our hands and resources with everyone else, we could do so much more.
Felicia, on my wish list, I'm going to put down that I need an extra head and an extra set of hands. I wish I had those. So, Kathy, if I hear you correctly, it sounds like putting other people in positions to be successful and to do what they need to do. That really seems to be your passion. Is that fair to say?
Lao Family is the founding of our Lao Family. From the time when we first started, we came here as refugees, and we were displaced because of war in our country. We had to come over here, and the first thing we had to learn was to speak English. Without an adult school and a community college, we wouldn't have been able to do that. The teachers at my elementary school really supported me, and I had to learn English not only in the class, but one of my teachers gave me a TV so that I could actually watch TV and hear how Native Americans speak, and then able to read magazines and newspapers and you have to keep trying. But when my father found it and the other community members helped to find Lao Family, it was really to help the people from our community first. But now we recognize that the last 30 plus years that we live in a very diverse community, and people from all over the world, and that to help families to succeed, they need education. They need resources. They need access to them, and to create a community. And Laney is a community. Lao Family is a community. And our company is a community. We're part of a community. And so to do that, I have to make sure that we're very strategic in what we do and that we partner up with the right folks and we work on something that makes a difference.
And don't forget, you are listening to The President's Desk, heard here on 96.9 KGPC.
Kathy, you talked a lot about the things that excite you about your role and the passions that you have. Certainly, this is coming out as you are outstanding as a guest on my show, and I really appreciate it. I want to flip it a little bit. What's something that's really a challenge for you, or what is it something about your role that keeps you up at night?
You know, right now, La Family's been growing exponentially. For the last almost 18 years that I've been here, La Family's been growing at a rate of 20 to 40% a year. It's a really huge challenge to make sure that we have the executive and the management capacity to support our employees and the systems that we need to build. And one of the things that's a big challenge that keeps me up right now is the cost of living in the Bay Area.
Absolutely.
For my staff and our clients, which is why skills trade and training, stackable certificates, and a route to get a higher paying job so that they can pay for their housing and the cost of living. Not everybody could quickly go to a 4-year university or to get a 2-year degree. But if we're able to offer recognized certificate trainings, our families will be able to live more comfortably and make it in the Bay Area.
And how big is how big is your staff?
La Family has a staff of approximately 150 full-time staff in 3 counties.
Wow, that's amazing. You touched on stackable certificates. Raya, could you tell our listeners what stackable certificates are?
Sure, but I think we have another expert in the room today with Kathy. What's great about stackable certificates is that in any of the CTE programs, someone may come in and get a 1-semester certificate and then go off and work, possibly in the field, and come back and get another certificate to build upon it. So at the end, they would be either getting their AS or getting, a full year of certificates that would give them greater and greater proficiency in the field.
And I think that's something important to touch on, because for a number of our students, it's like, okay, I'm going to get my degree or I'm going to get this certificate. But the truth is, with community college, along the way to that degree or along the way to that terminal certificate, you can get other certificates or even perhaps other degrees along the way. And I think that's an opportunity that we really need to try to magnify as a community college. And I think that's something that's great.
Yeah, and what's good about stackable certificates, and I know our biomanufacturing program has it, and quite a few of our program have it, is that you don't feel like, oh, I'm leaving in the middle. You've completed one thing, so you've put in the time and the effort to complete something and then come back and finish it.
Kathy, a number of our listeners are students that are either trying to find a career or trying to find a way to advance in their careers. What advice would you give them?
I think back to myself when I was younger, when I was a student at Cal or when I first graduated. We don't always know what we want to do with our life. And we're expected to know. When you go to university, you're expected to select a degree area and to concentrate on that. But sometimes you don't know. And getting a AA degree, AS degree, or getting a bachelor's degree is really just sometimes the beginning. And what I would say is get a degree, period. And then think about your passions and get an assessment so that you can assess your skill set and your aptitude and what you're good at. And you have to try a lot of different things because we don't always know yet what we want. And I was all over the place when I was young, and it's okay. It's okay if you don't know. If somebody asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to study? You can say, I'm not sure yet, but I know I'm passionate about this and I want to explore this. If you do that, you'll find your way.
There's a lot of truth in what you're saying, and certainly on our website we have our pathway maps. Students can go to the homepage, and there's a kind of a career research link that's right there at the top that they seek out. And within those pathways, it often tells them what the, for lack of a better term, membership card is that they need for their career. In my case, when I said I wanted to teach, immediately master's degree came up as something that needed to be done. And then when I wanted to leave the classroom and look at being a dean and later a vice president and now president, the doctorate in leadership was really the membership card that was important.
I'm curious, when you have potential employees come to interview at the Lau Family Foundation, Community Foundation, what do you look for in your candidates?
We look for candidates who are passionate, who understand Lau Family's value and Lau Family's mission. Our value and our mission is to help diverse communities to advance economically, economic mobility-wise, and to advance socially. We want them to be able to have an education, and the education could be long-term. It's ongoing. It's not just one time, but it's ongoing. We're looking for people who are very dedicated to serving our customers, because our customers need a lot of guidance, a lot of information, and a lot of care. And we are looking for people who don't just want a job for the money, but who's there to make a difference. Because what we're here to do is to make a difference to people's lives, and that means helping them get a degree, get an education, to get a house, to buy a house or a place to rent, for them to have child care, to have a car, to have health care, to have mental health care, and to feel love and to belong to a community.
What kind of projects could this potential employee expect to be working on?
Well, I'm so excited about our latest project. We are opening on September 1st in downtown Sacramento. Lau Family operates in 3 counties: Alameda County, Contra Costa County, and Sacramento County. Our latest project is we are developing a Care Campus Sacramento in downtown Sacramento at the former Vagabond Hotel. It's going to be a health and well-being innovation campus that's going to have a high school. It's going to have about 6 or 7 vocational training programs focused on the health care. For certified nursing assistants, medical assistants, personal care assistants, restorative nursing assistants. It's going to have test prep. It's going to have earn and learn. And they're going to be getting a job in the healthcare industry of either a skilled nursing facilities, a public district, hospital, a private hospital, or a community-based clinic.
I do want to move to this topic of housing in a moment, but I did see Raya kind of weigh in. Looks like Raya has a question.
It's very important.
Go for it.
It's actually to double back on what you were saying earlier, and something that I'm very passionate about is that we were talking about more of career education, of what fields are out there for people, because especially if a child doesn't have, or a young adult doesn't have mentors in their life, and so they don't even know what the potential is for them, because they don't even know what careers are there, what they may be interested in, because they don't have those people in their lives. And so we're building, and I'm going to be involving Lau Family. You don't know this yet. We're building a weekly career exploration program with our Gateway to College students, and that every week we will explore a different field and bring speakers from that field, and then how that connects to a Laney program. So that's something that you brought up that I find is very relevant.
Rudy and Raya, that's right. I mean, I really love that Gateway project of the community college. But that concept of exploration, we do a lot of field trips. We bring a lot of our students, adult students, and youth to Laney College and to the Peralta College District. We visit the CSU University's multiple campus. We visit the university, the UC campuses. We bring our adult learners and our younger students to different companies for tours and exploring and giving them eyes and having guest speakers. We love to have you, Rudy. We had Raya in the past, and Raya came to speak about her work. And that's one of the things that to to add to what you asked me earlier about an advice. When I was very young, of course, my parents wanted me to be an attorney. And I thought about it, and then I was studying for the LSAT, and then I interviewed 10 attorneys one summer in different areas of law. And I realized what I really wanted to do was to become a real estate developer, not an attorney. And I love my attorneys. I work with attorneys all day long. And my husband tells me all the time that I think and act like an attorney, but I love being a developer. And so through exploration, through reading, watching YouTube videos, and visiting and talking to people who have that job, you can figure out whether that might be for you and try an internship.
I just listening to you talk about the efforts, and we will move to housing now. I think this is a great opportunity to segue to that. But I'd first like to say that I think just in terms of ethos, and this is an observation on my part, I do see alignment between Laney College in 22-23 and going into 23-24 and the very things you said, because it just seems like a lot of the support is about the whole person. And this past year at Laney College, what we did was fall is free and spring is free, which was something where we just said to students, apply for financial aid, submit your FAFSA, get it in. And regardless of the outcome, we will cover your tuition and fees, but also we understand there are other costs that kind of that whole student, books, technology, food, a lot of those things we addressed, much the way Lao seems to address housing issues. So I want to stay on housing for a moment. What should Laney College students know about what Lao family does in the area of housing?
Housing is one of the most critical and hardest thing for everybody in the Bay Area, and even in Northern California and in our state. Housing costs the most. If we look at our budget, it's the item with childcare that costs the most. And I hope that we can partner up together, Lao family and Laney, because we have a motel that we bought, a 285 former Motel 6 near the airport. We have 125 rooms that we have been saving for the city of Oakland. And I hope Oakland works out their issues so that the 125 rooms can be given to houseless residents. And I know Laney College, based on the survey that I read on the state of California's community colleges, that 25 to 30% of community college students on each campus are facing housing instability and homelessness. And so I hope that we can work together, Laney or the Peralta College District and Lao family, because one of the gifts that we have, particularly me, is my passion is housing. We figured out in the last 2 years a different way to acquire housing, to develop housing. Can you believe this? In 65 days to 120 days, when projects that used to take 7 to 10 years to develop, we have been able to do this in the last 6 years, particularly the last 2 years. We've been able to figure out a new way in acquiring housing and making it available in 65 days to 120 days.
Okay, so I want to have kind of a stop right there a moment. You mentioned this opportunity. I'm a Laney student who's listening. I have housing insecurities. How do I reach out to you?
Well, you can call our main number, which is either 510-533-8850, or remember this very simple website or phone number, which is lfcd.org. That's our website. Get a hold of us. And then if you identify yourself as a student at Laney and you're dealing with houselessness issues, so we're going to meet with you immediately. You can call and come in for an appointment right away. And then we will discuss. If we can't fit you into one of our existing case management programs, then we'll come back to your Peralta College District trustees and the presidents and the chancellors to discuss a potential partnership.
Excellent.
You are listening to The President's Desk, heard here on 96.9 KGPC.
Excellent. Thank you, Randy. And as always, can remind our listeners as well, if you want to log on anytime to catch the show, you can log on to kgpc969.org and find us there as well. Also wanted to follow up with a question, because I mentioned our approach to what we've done this year with free college and looking at the fact that it's not just tuition, that there are other needs that people have. In addressing homelessness and housing insecurity, what are the other issues, again, that kind of that whole person idea that you find in meeting those issues you also have to address besides the building where somebody can sleep?
Well, this may sound really basic, Rudy, but it's language access. We really need the community college to have staff members who speak another language, the language of the students that you're trying to engage to enter into the college. So bilingual staff is really critical. The second thing is to offer classes that are shorter. So instead of semester-long class, it might be a shorter. It could be a weekend program. It's more like the adult school. The adult school programs offer, 6 sessions or 10 sessions. I think having a place where they can bring their children and they could put the children there for an hour or two while they're in class will make a huge difference.
That's something that we're absolutely coming to terms with as well, is that not everybody's clock starts September 1st or January 1st when it comes to education. And I think that's one of the reasons why our short-term late starting classes have become so popular. The times that we've floated out Saturday classes and looked at the idea of a weekend college, we've found that there's been responsiveness that's been there. That's great. Going back to the folks who reach out to Lao for assistance, once they do, is there somebody specific they should ask for?
Yes, absolutely. When they call our office, they should either ask for Sue Dang or Mimi Kine regarding housing and their housing needs. For employment, they can also speak with Sue, the same person. And one other thing, Rudy, I think that we can expand upon is that I really love this contract service with the community college, the partnership that we have, or even with contract service with CSUs, like the one that we have with CSU Sacramento, where we put 60 of our employees through training with Sacramento State, and they come over here to Oakland to deliver the training for us. But if we expand the partnership with nonprofit organizations or with affordable housing developers who have a lot of people living in their apartments, bring the community college to the community, and let's start the bridge from there. Once they meet the teacher, they understand that they can actually do it and they can actually afford it. It'll make it easier. It'll build their esteem, their self-esteem, and that they know that they have a person that they can come to the campus and they'll be taken care of, to take the fear out of something that's so different and new.
Yeah, Felicia, just so you know, when we were kind of doing our meet and greet before the show, just Kathy was so fired up about housing. I felt like in the parking lot we had our first show segment out there. I mean, just so many questions and so many comments that were there as well. Kathy, I'd like to segue a little bit to certainly something about you that's amazing is, in addition to all this work that you've done with real estate development and addressing homelessness issues, you've also served as a civic leader for the city of San Pablo. Could you tell us a little bit, what was your experience doing that? And I teased it a little bit, but could you tell us the roles that you served?
Sure. Well, the funny thing is that I've never been interested in running for elected office. That was never my plan. And I was a developer, and our family had been in San Pablo for decades. And as a developer, that's when I met city council members and planning commissioners and also our city manager. So and just to caveat, I'm the 14th generation in my family to be a community leader, a mayor, or some sort of supervisor. But the first woman in the 14 generations to serve, in that role. So when I moved to the city of San Pablo and became a homeowner, the city council members and the school board president approached me about running for office. And to tell you the truth, I declined for 10 years. Oh, wow. Until one day I said, okay, I give up. I will run for office. But remember, I had a 2-year-old with special needs, and I had a 4-year-old, And I was so busy with my job at Lao Family, but I also sat on the boards of 5 different organizations. When I finally said, okay, I'll do it, it was one of the most amazing experience. The city of San Pablo, the electeds in San Pablo.
Wow, it sounds like an amazing experience. And Randy, I have to ask you, just as you are in our student government, are there any questions you might have for Kathy?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what made you change your mind about running?
I'm passionate about serving others, and I knew I had the skills. I had the skill sets to be an elected leader. I understood the city's budget and understood where the revenue was coming in. Of course, there's a lot of rules, and mayor is not an island on its own. You have a city council, and they're your colleagues, and you have to work together. There are rules, in running a city. You have your city manager, you have your police, your fire, you have your unions, and there are so many different components. But our San Pablo was a very professional city. And so number one was that I felt finally that maybe I'll try. And I know I can do it, and let's give it a try and see if I like it or not. And actually, I was originally appointed for 8 months because one of the council members had a heart attack and couldn't finish their term. So I applied, and I was appointed for 8 months. And then I figured out afterwards that, hey, I'm really good at this, and I'm very capable, and I could make a big difference. Let me run for office. So I ran for office. I was elected, and it was one of the best 4 years. I didn't get much sleep, that part. You have to go to a lot of meetings. You sit on a lot of committees. You're at a lot of events. And so for 5 years, I had 5 hours of sleep a night.
Oh, wow. That might disqualify me right there. I'm kind of 7 hours or else. That's where I'm at. But
myself as well.
I was gonna say, as far as like from student government question, how do you keep everybody happy?
Well, you know what? The funny thing is, this may sound arrogant, but I'm not here to make everybody happy. I'm elected by the people to serve the people. And so, we can't make everyone happy, but we have to do what's right sometimes. And sometimes the voice of the minor that come to us that's really loud is not the right decision to make for the overall. So, one of the things that you have to keep in mind, what is your purpose here? Your purpose is to serve your community. And whether it's housing, it's graffiti, it's traffic, it's streets, it's police, it's fire, it's service for the citizens like youth, you have to keep those things in mind. And as a council and working with your city manager, just as a CEO or the president of a school, we have to go find funding to do these things. And we have to bring the private sector in, foundations and people. We just can't tax the taxpayers all the time.
I'm a political science major at Laney College. Let's just say I'm listening to you talk just about your experience, and maybe I'm thinking about getting into public life, eventually running for office. As someone who's getting close to completing an associate's degree in political science, what advice would you give?
I started off as a political science major as well when I was at Cal, Political Economy and Industrial Society.
So this will be authentic advice you'll be giving.
And I even was entering as a business degree major also at Cal. And then I realized that, that isn't what I want to do. What I really want to do is real estate development and urban planning. So I think it's really important that if you're going to be an elected official and run for office, you really have to understand the organization that you're going to be a part of. And so as an elected official, for example, if you're going to run for city manager or a city council member, you got to understand the city charter. Understand the city charter. Understand the city budget. Understand what unions are at play. Understand who your owners of your homes are in your city, who your business community members are. What institutions are in your city? Do you have a community college? Do you have a hospital? Do you have a library? You got to understand all the institutions and the stakeholders. and understand what their needs are and what they're willing to pay for, and who your influencers are, who your highly opinionated people and your mainstream people, and bring them all together.
Great answer. As you are now in this role as a CEO of Lau Family, what is it from your time as a city council member, a vice mayor, and a mayor that you bring to the role you have now?
Well, it's really interesting because I realize that cities, number one, have taxing capabilities, right? They can go to the community and voters, and, you can pass a sales tax. You can pass a initiative that's related to some special bond, that you want to pass, that's going to help the community. But as electeds, you have to be very careful to present information and not to influence how the voters are going to vote. So you have to bring outside people in and to make sure that anything that you're writing is impartial so that citizens could make a decision. So having the taxing ability is very different than in a role of a CEO, because I just can't tax my employees or tax, the customers who come to our office. The other thing is really being a city, depending on the size of your city, you're either going to have direct allocation from the feds, block grants, or you're not. And so then you also have unions, and you have to be able to work within that institution. But those are the things that, a nonprofit executive may not be able to have. But, you have to understand that the cities lobby too. And they have lobbyists, and they work a lot with the local senators, the assembly members, the county supervisors, and with the governor's office. And that's something I think that nonprofits can learn from.
Excellent. Wow. Just listening to you, Kathy, I always say as a job interviewer, if I can close my eyes and imagine doing the person doing the job, I know they're the right candidate. Over this past 40 minutes or so, just listening to you talk about the incredible work you do, I had such a clear picture in my mind and really appreciate it. Want to thank you for the time today. Would you be willing to come back and join us another time?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Everybody, come to Laney College, the Peralta College District, and come to Lau Family, and let's make great projects and serve our community together.
All right. Great to have such a partner for Laney. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right. Well, as we transition at this point in the show, I'll go ahead and remind listeners, just in the spirit of support, that Laney College does provide one-time support scholarships for students facing unforeseen financial difficulties that impact their ability to attend school, specifically through the Laney College President's Office Emergency Scholarship. If you are a student experiencing difficulty, please reach out to Arlene Lontock in my office at 510-464-3219, or feel free to email her at alontock@peralta.edu. Also, to our employees as well as our community members, this is just a reminder that all charitable gifts to Laney College are tax deductible, and they are processed through the Peralta Colleges Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. To donate, please reach out and contact Arlene at the information I gave. Or you know what? Often when giving a gift, you may have a question about that gift and exactly where it's going, or maybe you just have questions about giving to a college. In that case, reach out to me. Feel free to email me at rbesikof@peralta.edu, or better yet, give me a call at 510-464-3236, and I will absolutely make time to talk to you about it. Also, employees, it is possible to donate through monthly deductions from your paycheck if you're interested in doing so and making that donation, making that difference in the life of a student, and then having the tax write-off. If you are interested in that as well, you're welcome to reach out and contact either me, Arlene, and we'll be glad to give you the information. So, Felicia, wow, what a powerhouse guest we had, huh?
Yeah, she was amazing. She knows so much about the ins and outs of community development, of working through and with and being government. And when she talked about turning the hotel into student housing, I just thought that's the most incredible idea I've ever heard, and why I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
before.
that's amazing. And, I'm about to ask Randy the very same question, but before I do, I know she's got something to tell us.
Yes, you are listening to the President's Desk, heard on 96.9 KGPC.
All right, Randy, you are a leader. You're a future leader. Our guest, what were your thoughts?
Yes, I just thought it was so cool that she used to be a mayor, and she just seemed so down to earth. She knew exactly what she was talking about, what she wants to do, and I really like what she said about living a purpose-driven life.
No, it's truly amazing. Raya, just again, you kind of, first of all, thank you for bringing Kathy in. Just behind the scenes, Raya was the driving force with this. And I just always appreciate not your work as an employment services project manager and the difference you make in the lives of so many students, and then also just the difference you make to the President's Desk right here at our little
it's an honor
KGPC.
It's an
radio.
honor to
Loving
be
having her
involved.
here.
But with all that said,
here.
our time with Kathy was short. I think you could talk to Kathy for 8 hours and time would be short. But were there any things about what Kathy started to get into you that maybe you wanted to take a step further? Was there anything she said?
A lot of things, but I think it would be great to explore. A lot of things she was talking about we're doing, especially around mentorship and about career readiness and stackable certificates. I think something that we could look at, as you all know, is student housing and the cost of living in this area. And what's really, I don't want to use the word cool, but I'll say the word cool, is that she's extremely innovative and she knows the system very well. So I think that she has, very good ideas about funding and fundraising for the student housing.
Excellent. Well, before we go into total show host takeover mode in a few minutes, and I know you have to leave, I do want to go ahead and devote this as we transition in this part of the show, I'd like to go ahead and move now to our Partners of Laney feature. And Raya, as always, comes on and tells us about opportunities both on campus and with our educational and business partners in the community. So, Raya, what do you have for us today?
Well, I think I am an immigrant myself. So I think homecoming usually was in the beginning of the school year before the semester starts. Is that correct, Randy?
Yes.
You're an American. Okay. So I want to do kind of a homecoming jobs availability, which is my favorite location is Laney College. Right now, I want to put out there that we really need, all the departments that I've been speaking with need student assistance for the departments. I know the Welcome Center needs someone, counseling needs someone, the Employment Services Center needs someone. So we have multiple positions right now in the different departments for student assistance. So
when you're saying the departments, you mean the offices on campus that serve the
correct.
Students? How about within the disciplines? Are there any specific subject areas, maybe professors that typically need student assistance as we gear up for fall?
The business department itself, not the business study department, they always are looking for accounting students to help in the lab, the accounting lab. The CIS department contacted me yesterday. Yeah, they're looking for tutors in the computer science lab.
For computer information systems,
that's right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And also the business center, the business lab as well for student assistance in the lab. All the labs, all the math lab, the business lab, and the CIS lab all need student assistance there to help other students.
Okay, thank you. How about off campus? Any partners right now looking for folks?
Well, kind of off campus and kind of not. The U.S. Bank location continually emails me. They really are looking for about 6 people to work in the bank on campus, although they are employees of U.S. Bank. So it is an organization that's not at Laney. I mean, not a Laney organization, but they really need applicants to work in the bank.
If they take on that job, what would be some of the duties they might expect? Let's say banking and finance student interested in getting some of that hands-on. What would be some of the experience of working at the branch?
Well, first of all, what's very interesting this year is that there will actually be U.S. Bank employees. In the past, they were kind of interns at Union Bank, but at this time, they will be actual employees. We started this program in correspondence with our banking program at Laney in the business department. So there is a banking program at Laney College, and they love students from that program to apply for these teller jobs. It's primarily teller and customer service jobs.
Excellent. And I always appreciate them because for our one-stop Saturday events, and this year they come up on August 12th and then August 19th. Union Bank, formerly and now U.S. Bank, they're always great about tabling at the event and answering student questions, whether it be about the employment opportunity or opening an account or whatever other questions they might have.
And just one thing regarding the Super Saturday events on August 12th and August 19th is that the HVAC, the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning department is holding an open house at the same time. So people should walk down there to B150 and check out the lab.
Felicia, I think for a future show, having Professor Sapo Su come on, she's the department chair for our HVAC program that teaches about air conditioning systems and maintenance and everything. I think having her on the show is something we absolutely want to look at.
Oh, I agree. I think that would be a good
all right.
show for us.
Okay, so Raya, thank you so much.
Right.
And,
thank you,
just
everybody.
Appreciate over the last 3 weeks, you've been a rock star as far as keeping the president's desk.
Thank you.
Well booked in terms of guests, and certainly appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
And have a great rest
Raya,
of your
before
day.
you go, I do
Yes.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The internships at U.S. Bank, could they eventually turn into jobs? I'm just
Right. So
curious.
what is going on this year? They are actual employees. They're being hired. Previously, when it was Union Bank, it was an internship, and then they would have had a leg up on getting permanent jobs, although we don't say regular jobs. But in this case, since U.S. Bank took it over, it's actual jobs that they are getting. They're going to be employees of U.S. Bank.
Oh, excellent.
Excellent. All right. Well, whether it's virtually or right here in the studio, we look forward to seeing you next week,
All right.
Raya.
Thank
Okay,
you.
take care.
Take care.
Okay,
Hi,
so like I said, our audience, Felicia, is our students primarily, and we have a student co-host, so we're going to put the spotlight on Randy. I almost feel like we need some spotlight on Randy music to cue this up, but that might be another soundboard for another week. But Randy touched on it briefly when the former mayor was in the room. As you're listening to our guests, especially the web content developer, the graphic designer, and now the former mayor and obviously the CEO of a pretty influential foundation, what are you taking away from it that adds to your tool belt as a present and future leader?
I have my little notepad. I take notes. I just am soaking up all of the information they're providing me with so I can apply that to student government, like as far as, with the graphic designer, as far as like learning how to put everything together, have a cohesive plan of like what everything should look like together, like as far as marketing today, of how the former mayor told us about like how you should just have a purpose-driven life, make sure your goals are clear. So I'm definitely taking note of all of that and applying it toward student government moving forward.
Felicia, what about you just on the student higher education front? Is there an issue that right now is kind of catching your eye, or maybe if you hear it on the radio, you turn the volume up a little bit, or even on TV?
There's a couple of things, and we probably already touched on that, and one is housing. But I'm also thinking about a big picture threat or whatever opportunity, however you might want to look at it, and that's AI. And I'm concerned that a lot of entry-level jobs could be eliminated because of AI.
No, and I know on previous shows, especially when we had Angel Fuentes as a guest, I think it was our simulcast premiere, I know that AI was a big part of that conversation moving forward, although I have to wonder if it's not so much elimination but shifting of jobs. In other words, with that change, and again, the only sure thing in life is change, that it's not, of course, some jobs will be lost, but maybe if it's a time, and this is where community college can be help, where people have to reassess and then get some retraining or get requalified for things.
I definitely think that there's going to be a shift as far as employment and employment opportunities.
What do you
We'll see.
What do you think? AI is going to take over? Like, which jobs are you thinking of?
Hopefully not college presidents. But go ahead.
So I'm already seeing it happening. I'm seeing it happening in call centers when you call for customer service. I see the elimination of those type of jobs. I also see cashiers being eliminated. Now there's going to be the elimination of people who can make money, say driving Uber or what have you. Those jobs will be with self-driving cars. I also see the elimination of even things in entertainment and radio. If you can create that through AI, you don't have to pay an entertainer all that money. You could just do it through AI. So I see a lot of shifts in things that normally could pay decent being completely eliminated. I'm like, what is this world going to look like? And all these first level positions are also going to be taken away. I'm nervous about that.
Well, one thing that can certainly not be replaced are two great co-hosts in you, Felicia and Randy. And I think that's a good positive note. This was a great show. This show today
had it positive, but
yeah,
other opportunities will open up.
Yes.
But no. In all seriousness, today's episode did have a lot of moving parts, and just appreciation to both of you as always. And Randy, good to have you back this week. As we wrap up another edition of the President's Desk, we would like to thank our Peralta TV audience, as well as radio and podcast listeners up and down the great state of California. That's from as far north as the 717 and the 530, and it goes all the way down to SoCal and the 619, where I always give a big shout out. Also, to our listeners right here in the 510, tuning in from Lake Merritt, Oakland Chinatown, downtown Oakland, West Oakland, Eastlake, Fruitvale, Diamond, North Oakland, Adams Point, Central Oakland, East Oakland, the Oakland Hills, Montclair, Piedmont, and of course those listening right here in Oakland at the Laney College campus. As we close up shop at the President's Desk, straighten up the chairs and turn the desk light off on today's program, Felicia, great job as always. Please take us home.
Absolutely. Shout out to the late Pee Wee Herman, one of my favorite movies, Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Thank you all for tuning into the President's Desk, a program available on radio and television and podcast, hosted by Laney College President Dr. Rudy Besakoff. It airs Wednesday at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. on 96.9 KGPC, and viewers can watch the show in its entirety on Peralta TV Sundays from 1 to 2 p.m. To listen to the show anytime, find us on kgpc969.org/programming/current shows and click on to the President's Desk, or find the show directly at kgpc969.org/the President's Desk. Also, to stream video of the show, go to youtube.com and watch and describe to the Laney College President's Desk. If you have any questions for a future show, please email us at laneypio@peralta.edu.
Tune in for a special episode of the President's Desk as Lao Family Community Development CEO Kathy Chao Rothberg joins us to talk about housing and other important issues. As always, you're welcome at the President's Desk on 96.9 KGPC. Okay, your turn.
Tune in to the President's Desk for a special episode talking to Lao Family Community Development Organization CEO Kathy Chao Rothberg. Don't forget, the President's Desk is on 96.9 KGPC.